So why do you think Sailor Moon has lasted all the way to 2017? Is it just the art itself, the outfits that attracts new viewers, or what is it that makes people keep coming back to it even now, so many years later?
I think it's the messaging and the story. I think the story is a very powerful story of people coming together, friendship, unity, acceptance of all races, colors, the communities. I just think it's a beautiful story that represents unity and justice for the greater good.
I also think representation. It was first of all one of the first shows. It was 92, and it was one of the first shows I remember as a kid where there was more than one token female who was supposed to represent all women. This one had not just 5, but outer a million rankings of all these different women. Rankings not the right word. Anyway, and then
variety.
Yeah, variety.
The spice of anime.
Yes. There we go. And every girl I knew, when we would play Sailor Moon, we all found one that represented us. We're oh, I'm kind of nerdy and shy, so I really like, Ami, and for me, Jupiter was my favorite because it's I was a tomboy, but I also was really sensitive and whatever, so it's I think Naoko Takeuchi did a great job just kind of capturing the different, like you said, spices of people.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in how many years, we still don't have that much programming with that many strong women.
It's true.
So.
Also, that's still funny. It still holds up.
Yep. Yeah.
You can watch it and not be. Yeah, you go back and some, they might they might not like me for this, but you can go back and watch some 80s cartoons, especially action-based cartoons. They're impossible to sit through.
Yeah.
The pacing's so bad. It's so tough. And this one, there's enough slice of life stuff where it's still funny. It still holds up. And I think it's still just good. All those other reasons you guys mentioned, of course. Yeah. But it's also still just good entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's interesting too that the characters are so iconic and rangeful that the 90s classic series actually makes me laugh, even in Japanese, which is rare for me, and I love anime and stuff, but it's so funny and iconic and works. And then when you have Crystal, where it's this is a more serious, realistic kind of tone to it, and you still believe it's the same characters and etc. across the board. So I think it shows that Usagi and especially the main crew, the main 5, really kind of stand the test of time, regardless of whether it's the manga or either of the different anime, and people still, even little kids that I know who didn't even grow up with the series, they know who all the characters are. They've just lasted and they're that ingrained in pop culture across the world, as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I know I've had personal experiences, and I feel we've been in a very unique place in that I grew up with the show, watching it as a kid, and now being an actor, getting to meet the people that are my age or older that grew up with it and have such fond memories of the show and say this was so impactful to my childhood, and now they want their children to get to experience it, and so to get to be in that full circle of that timeless nature, I think that's why it's stuck around. It's there, and the people that watched it when it first came out loved it so dearly that they really want to share it with their kids and the next generation, which is really nice. And that it's timeless, that it still holds up is great.
I have a question. Other than the character that you voice, which Sailor Moon character do you most identify?
When I was a kid and I first watched the show, Chibiusa, because she was the little one, and I was always the smallest kid in class, and so whenever anybody would pick who they were going to be, they were always and Cherami will be Chibiusa, and I was I get that, she's pink and adorable. I mean, I guess I could turn into Black Lady when I'm stuck in traffic. So that would probably be my fave. She also has a cat. I love Diana.
I think Artemis for me, because he's just kind of semi-annoyed cat dad all the time. feels about right. Yeah.
Usagi for me.
Yeah.
Especially because growing up, she always got on my nerves, and that's usually because they remind you of you.
Yeah.
So I was she shouldn't be a leader. She can't be anywhere on time, and she eats too much food, and she falls down the stairs. Who does that? So, yeah.
And you look in the mirror and cry.
And you're oh God,
it's me.
Why are you like this?
It was always me.
Yeah. So that's fine.
Probably Ami for me, because I was shy and a nerd, bookish.
Weirdly, now that I think about who I relate to, I think Venus. As I've gotten into, because I remember, admittedly, in the beginning I was like, I don't know what like her deal is, and then now that like I've watched like I've been rewatching Supers recently, and now I've seen like everything like in the last like few years, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I am a lot like her. Maybe that's not necessarily a good thing, but I love her all the same, and maybe it's good that I see myself in her in some way. There's some innocence there, I guess.
I think for me it's a mixture between Ami and Mako, because I was a little shy when I was younger, but at the same time I was protective, very protective of my friends and those close to me. So Mako and Ami combined into one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably a little of my own character, Mercury. I know I always say this because I'm so smart. She's smart. No, I'm really not that smart. I don't think I'm that smart. But also just Sailor Moon because of her insanity with boys. It's the worst combination. Really. Yeah.
I think I still relate to my character every time I go to a session. I go, oh my gosh, this is my life sometimes. But I relate to Luna and that like maternal instinct of Luna.
Yeah, that is true.
I guess building on that, how would you say that you're all similar to your characters, and what were you like in high school?
Oh boy.
Other than eating a lot, that's like the only similarity.
You have leadership abilities.
But Usagi doesn't really.
She throws into
She's
it.
the glue that keeps them all together.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like
It's like the glue like that doesn't dry until the last second that you need it to bond.
I guess Mamoru and I know when I did the audition, when I read the teasing in the streets part, that was sort of like the first time I met Usagi. I was like, I can do this. Yeah, that was pretty much me in high school. That was how I flirted. I just teased, and I was also a theater nerd. So all the big silly over the top tuxedo mask stuff came pretty easy. Yeah.
For me, Mako was my favorite, and I'm like, wow, she basically wrote me. It's a biopic of my life.
I get it.
Sailor Moon is, that's fine. No, but I played hockey and I played soccer, and I also was kind of boy crazy. And to this day, I'll still be like I took it off my Tinder, but I did have it on there for a while where I was like, I can probably deadlift more than you, which is probably true.
I was going to say it should go back on.
It should go back on. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in high school I was really boy crazy, like to the point where I would be very threatening to the guys I liked, because for some reason I thought that would be like, they'll never know I like them this way, and so I threatened to put a flaming arrow through the guy I liked's heart.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
And I did for Valentine's Day. I put it through a paper heart, so really worked.
It's one of my
We
favorites.
had 5 kids together. We're real happy.
I think what is similar, I didn't think that I had that much in common with Venus when I first got cast, and now as the show has progressed, I'm having a hard time figuring out where she ends and I begin. I love the idea of love and being kind to others and compassionate, so the fact that she's the guardian of love I really enjoy, and I wear that title very proudly. I have cats, just as she does. I can oftentimes, my jokes are terrible and really punny, and I say some stupid things more than I would like to. I love quotes. I try not to misquote as much as she does. And I'm very interested in, I'm not so much pop culture necessarily anymore, but I love learning about people. So I will read a lot of, I was telling them yesterday, I learned far too much about Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding when the movie was coming up, so I was recounting the whole story. And they were like, I don't think that's right. I was like, no, in 1994, this is what happened, which is a very Venus thing to do. And in high school, I was incredibly nerdy. I was a theater nerd. I was somebody who tried to push boys away because I was afraid that they weren't going to like me, so I was threatening in the sense of, like, if some guy would come up to me, he's like, do you want to hang out? I was like with a group of people, because why would we do that alone? because I didn't want him to like shut me down. So I often ran.
I was gonna say, didn't you literally?
I literally ran from someone once. It's not one of my finer moments, but yeah, I feel like that's a Venus thing as well. But that's why she doesn't have a boyfriend. You can't run or date two of them at the same time. I never did that. I swear to you.
Yes, you can.
I did not. Well, you can. I cannot. I can't. It would stress me out.
I certainly have the snout of Pegasus. Physically.
You have the mane.
That's a great joke.
I mean, I'm just getting it out of the way before the comments get to it. Thank you. Yes. When my hair was longer, I had the mane. Actually,
That's a great joke.
good night, everybody. Okay.
Leave on a high note. Get out.
In high school, I was starting to kind of make my creative stamp on the world. I was really starting to get out of my shell and be a little bit more social. So I was actually a lot like the opposite of Pegasus, where he has a lot of trust issues and that he was hurt very deeply by a lot of the lore stuff that is a little spoilery, but and that it takes a long time for him to forge this bond with and trust Chibiusa, who's the only person that he really communicates with at all. I am not like that in that I am an open book with my emotions with most people. Certainly there are my Chibiusas in my life that I'm like, okay, this person I trust with the really important things and the things that I've been hurt with, etc. Of which there actually are people among these fine folks. But even past that, I'm just I had a bad day today, Twitter. I'm gonna tell you about it. It's also the crystal forest is weeping. Somebody come help. But he's also far prettier than me, but I can live with that. So.
Let's see. Yeah, Chibiusa. I think how I connect to her is when she first comes into the story, she's on her own and she's trying to figure her way through this world, and she feels very responsible to save her mother. And I kind of grew up in a single parent household, and I was very responsible for my mom at a very young age. So I really relate to a lot of Chibiusa's mission and what she had to navigate through on her own as a small child, even though she was 900 years old. But and also when she becomes Black Lady, it's really not that she turns evil. I mean, it's that self-doubt and everything that Wiseman instills in her and reinforces that, she kind of goes into a dark place. Wants to destroy the world, but she goes into a dark place. So, I've been to those places as well, and I think that was helpful in playing that character authentically. But probably in high school I was more like Sailor Venus. I love theater. I was homecoming queen and prom queen and just, captain of the cheerleaders, and I just loved, I loved life, so yeah, so that's probably it for me.
I wish I was a lot more like Neptune, because she's a painter, she's a musician, to me, I think she's the perfect woman. So I would love to be exactly like her, but I'm still trying to figure out what similarities I have to her personally. In high school, I was just a very insecure, shy person who, just wanted to be one of the popular kids, especially in middle school, which I hated middle school.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kate.
For the audio version, they're hugging right now.
Thank you, radio host.
Let me see. What was the question? No, it was asked a long time ago. Mercury. How am I like Mercury? High school. When I went to a high school reunion recently, God, it's just I open my mouth and people laugh.
No, do it.
I guess it's a good thing. When I went to a high school reunion, and I won't tell you which one, people said to me, "You were so serious in high school," and I was like, "I was," because I think of myself as so not serious. What do I care about? I don't even know. But I am in my head a lot. I am very in my head. And Mercury is kind of just like, she's all just like, uptight. I'm not allowed to cuss. Am I? Yeah. She's so just, I just want to wring her little cute neck and like, relax. So I think in that regard, we're similar. But I wasn't. Oh my gosh, you guys are an easy audience. But I don't think I was as just like super brainy. I know it's hard to believe. There you go, I'm done.
Guys,
I am done.
I can't help but glance across the table and see each of them with about half a dozen questions each.
You gotta go.
What if we gave them some sweet, nice, tight, quotable answers?
Sure.
I mean, I think we're all, we're flowing, but
Sweet, nice, and tight. Like
but we.
Wow.
Had to bring it back around.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying. I feel bad. I want to get to all the questions. Like at least a fair amount of them. We've answered 2 in 20 minutes.
All right, let's go. Boom.
Lightning round.
No, not lightning round. I'm just saying. We can just tighten it up a little.
So, according to Studiopolis, great Jamie Simone's company,
Yes.
we've worked with a lot of you. We've worked with them before in that company. What's unique and special about working with Studiopolis?
Studiopolis.
Studiopolis.
Studiopolis rocks.
My favorite Sonic level.
Really good coffee.
Jamie's great. Jamie, the owner's great. He's loyal to his people. He's got a great directing team, and it's a really warm place. I feel like that, and I don't know. It just feels very comfortable there, and you're usually going to go in and do top end projects.
Everybody's nice.
Yeah,
Every
everybody's
single
nice.
person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's really nice, and we have great directors. Susie's incredibly knowledgeable of the material, and it's. I think it's really nice whenever I work on a project at Studiopolis. I can tell that they care about putting out a great project, and unfortunately, in this industry, time is money, and so when you work with a studio that genuinely cares about getting the best project and the best product, no matter what the cost, that's really nice to work with. So I love that they care about us and the work that they put out.
And they're loyal to their people. They used
Absolutely.
to joke that like in the anime world, like Studiopolis was like Fort Knox to get into.
Yep.
Yeah.
But once you're in, they're really good to you if you continue to perform well for them. Yeah. It's
and,
nice.
and actually, this show in particular, not to go on too long, but this show in particular was really cool because it allowed for a lot of new folks that hadn't been within that circle to get in and really show themselves because they were. This was one of the first things I got with them. It was a main character, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And to me, even before I was even doing this professionally, to me as a fan, Viz plus Studiopolis equals good quality dub, and that still holds true to this day. So I'm very happy with it.
And I just want to mention again Susie Goldish, our director.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, but in anime, the actor completely has to surrender to the director to know where we are in the script, what's happening in that scene, because we're not all in that room together reading together. We're doing our part one at a time. So we completely rely on her to fill us in and emotionally where our character is. So she's phenomenal.
She's phenomenal. She's like right on point. And Jamie and I have the same birthday, and we really are family. It is like, I don't even really I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't even really do any new dubbing projects with other companies. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But I've worked for them forever, and they're great.
Yay, Studiopolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
Well, it's clearly all like the studio. I was just wondering, what's an average day like at work for you when you go in to record? I know that's always
Every day's different.
Every day is
Yeah.
different.
Depends.
If you wanted to really do it like a simple, regular voiceover day, our typical blocks are 9 to 1 and then 2 to 6. And you can book whatever you can within that amount of time. It's not always true, but mostly true. So if you've got a 2-hour anime session, maybe you try to squeeze 2 in the morning. And then if you've got like a commercial in the afternoon, you put that in that block. And that's usually how our days break down. Or if you do like 2 animated projects or a video game and an animated project, they're usually broken into 4-hour blocks. That's about all you're good for without a nice solid hour break in between. You start booking over that and you start not sounding so good. Yeah.
Or you do nothing all day.
Or you do nothing all day. Yeah. Or you do
Wait for the phone to ring.
Or even if you're doing nothing, you're doing auditions from your home studio, or you're working from home doing an ISDN patch for promos, or we're always working. 90% of our work's trying to get work.
Yeah.
For this show, though, it also depends on how many episodes have been written so far, and then how many lines we might have. We might knock out like 5 episodes. We might knock out 1 episode, depending on how much to do. It completely changes depending on what's going on at the time.
Yeah, anime is always like a grab bag when you go in, because you get booked for 2 hours, because that's usually the minimum, and then you go in and like, all right, we got 4 lines today, and you go, oh, okay, and then or you go, oh, we got 80 lines today, and it's all exposition, and you go, oh, okay. So a lot of the times you don't even know what you're gonna get when you go in for anime. For other stuff, you usually have a script a little bit ahead of time.
And the script is cold. You go in and you haven't seen the script before, so. That's pretty much 90% of our work.
Agreed.
You know, if you're working on mainstream animation, original animation, you might get the script 2 to 3 days ahead of time. You'll see a little bit of your role, like when you audition, the copy. But in anime, it's always cold. You walk in the door, you don't know what you're reading, where you are emotionally that day with that character. So it's a lot of cold reading.
We're always auditioning, either in the morning or in the evening. Like if you're with a major agency, you're doing, and on your own, you're doing anywhere between like 200 and 400 auditions a year, and that's one a day.
I thought you were gonna say like a week, and I was like, damn! I was like,
no, but I mean that's 2 every workday, and if you're doing a good job, you're taking your time with it at your home studio and doing the best you can. So.
And I don't know about you guys, but living in LA and having to do auditions, it's either late at night or early in the morning because the traffic is terrible, and no matter who, I haven't found anybody's house or apartment where I'm like, wow, you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty good, but it's my closet. Like literally, like my clothes are hanging there, my dresser's in there, and then I put the mic in there, and I put some cats.
I had to move to the valley and buy a booth to get quiet.
That was one of the things I rented my apartment for. Was I needed a walk-in closet, and I needed it not to be sharing a wall with my neighbors, and I needed to not have me above or below me. Like specifically for voiceover. So my agent will usually send auditions, email them like at the end of the day, usually like 5 or 6 p.m. and then they're due 9 a.m. the next day. So hopefully you don't have anything to do that evening, or else you're up till 1 or 2 recording auditions in your closet, and hope your neighbors don't hate you.
Or up at 6.
I usually get up at 6.
Yeah.
My voice is crap in the morning.
My voice is too.
That's that good announcer voice though. Good morning. Nice and bassy.
And we have a recording studio in our home, so it's just a room that's turned into a studio with all the pro equipment, because some of our jobs we actually record from home.
Sure.
So the closet is built out like a real studio.
Even though you don't have creative control, like you said, are there themes that you'd like to see the show explore, like beyond 2017, things that you think would modernize the series in a way?
Well, that's one of the things that I love about the show, is that it's pretty progressive on its own. I think that it goes over a lot of topics that are current, and I think that's one of my favorite parts about the show, actually. So,
wasn't there something about the two gay people recently?
Yeah, that's my character and Erica Mendez's character.
Yeah. Is the manga done? Is it run its course?
Yeah.
So I mean, if they were to
road mapped out.
Right. If they were to do Crystal, how much longer would it take to finish the manga?
2 more seasons.
Another 2 more seasons?